Time now to check in with Gretchen Carlson to see what's coming up on The Real Story. Hey, Gretchen.
Hi, guys. Well, guess how many Obamacare delays or extensions have happened since the law was passed? At least 25. And now word today there could be yet another one. So are these changes actually legal? Plus, Biden for president in 2016? Find out what the vice president said this week that has tongues wagging and his possible primary opponents like Hillary Clinton ready to pounce. And one of our nation's military heroes, severely injured in Iraq, will join us to share his story of perseverance, and he's going to show us his new home as well. All on The Real Story, top of the hour.
We'll see you then.
Thank you.
He was in law enforcement 20 years and he never shot anybody.
Right. I'm so sorry.
He's never threatened anybody with a gun or nothing. I don't know. If the guy hit him, and I trust my husband, if he hit him, then I don't know if he thought he was going to hurt him.
That was emotional testimony from the wife of the man accused of murder after that argument over texting in a Florida movie theater.
71-year-old Curtis Reeves could find out today if he'll be allowed to post bail ahead of his trial. A hearing underway right now. The retired Tampa police captain was in a movie theater last month when police say he got into a fight with Chad Olson. During the previews, Olson was heard saying he was texting his young daughter. The fight escalated until Olson was shot and died. Prosecutors describe Reeves as a red hot who overreacted. His defense says, well, he felt threatened by a younger, bigger man. Jana Spilbor joins us. David Wohl, both defense attorneys. Good to see you both.
Thanks, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
All right, we just heard what the wife is saying now, but in the movie theater, she allegedly said right after the shooting, quote, there was no cause to shoot anyone, to which the defendant, her husband, replied, you shut your effing mouth and don't say a word. Jana, assuming that is admissible during trial, pretty incriminating, isn't it?
Well, it sure shows that this guy has anger issues. You know what? This story to me is like Curtis Reeves had the equivalent of road rage inside a movie theater. And the only thing that the victim was armed with, Greg, wasn't a car. It was popcorn. This man should not be allowed out on bail because he is a definite danger to society. What are we going to do when he's at the grocery store and some little old lady gets too close to him with her cart? And number two, I think he's a flight risk because at 71, if he's convicted of anything, he's looking at a life sentence.
David, do you see any reason that the judge might grant him bail today?
Yeah, I mean, there's a presumption for bail in second-degree murder case. Remember, this is not a death penalty case where there would be no bail. In my view, it's a voluntary manslaughter case because remember, this man stood up, and Mr. Olson, it wasn't the texting that caused the deadly argument. It was the tossing popcorn at the former cop, and the cop may have perceived that as perhaps a subterfuge or a distraction for a more violent assault, and he withdrew his gun and fired at him. Now, granted, it's a horrible tragedy in retrospect, but you don't have time to think when your life is in danger like that. I think he will be granted bail because of the circumstances.
Well, if it's dropped down to manslaughter, you're talking about 9 years. You do 3/4 of that, 6 years, and you're out. But, Jana, I want to play a soundbite here of a police officer who was on the scene who observed exactly what the accused said right after the shooting. Take a listen.
Okay.
He said, I can't, and he pushed his glasses back. He said, I can't believe what I've done.
That is admissible, an exception to hearsay, statement against interest. How incriminating is that?
It's consciousness of guilt. I mean, David, you know I love you, but how can anybody be in fear of their life over popcorn being thrown at them in a movie theater? This is an ex-cop. Well, he should know how to handle a situation better.
And John, and that's why it's not going to be a self-defense acquittal. That is why, though, it was a heat of a passion argument. A gentleman who was a former cop thinking that his life was in danger because this popcorn was tossed at him, and the other gentleman was much, much bigger than him. So it was a reasonable fear, but it won't lead to an acquittal. And again, my guess is voluntary manslaughter at best.
Jana, can it be submitted here or considered for bail that he does seem to have a hair-trigger temper and that there was another couple who say that they encountered him and he was mad about their texting in the weeks prior to this shooting? Is that admissible here?
Yes, because part of the bail hearing is not just is he a flight risk, but is he going to be a danger to the public at large? And anybody with that kind of hair trigger, and certainly we don't know how many guns he owns, but obviously he carries one. Not that he would be allowed to if he were out on bail, but the judge must consider whether the public at large would be in danger, and I say, of course they would.
And you know what else the jury may hear? The dying declaration, and that would be admissible, of the victim. He said, "I can't believe he shot me." The last thing he said before he died. Wow, that's incriminating, too. Jonas Billboard, David Wohl, good to see you both. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Good to see you, Greg. Thank you, Allison.
Well, a blundering group of thieves caught red-handed with the goods they stole.
I was pretty happy. I mean,